Ancient Egypt, Nile River Valley. These are some important maps of ancient Egypt. This map shows all the important cities of ancient Egypt. This is a topographic map showing the highs and lows of ancient Egypt. Weapons and armory. This is a spear made by the Egyptians. They used these mainly in war. This is a battle axe, which is also used in war, but they also used to chop trees around the cities. This is a picture that shows the use of a bow and arrow, which was the Egyptians' favorite weapon of choice. This is a prjocet, which is a smaller and lighter version of a battle axe. And the final weapon is a sword, which many Egyptians carried into battle if they didn't have the choice of a bow and arrow. Transportation. Many Egyptians traveled in ships around the waterways. This is a carrying chair, which usually carried the pharaoh. Also, many Egyptians rode camels from city to city. And if you couldn't afford a camel, you would usually ride a donkey instead. The head of state is the pharaoh, which is the leader of Egypt. The main art of Egypt was carvings into the side of buildings and pyramids and sculpture heads of the pharaoh. Religion was usually based around the gods and goddesses and around the Book of the Dead, which many Egyptians read on a daily basis. Architecture and urban planning. The number one architectural thing built in ancient Egypt was pyramids. Also, the Egyptians built defensive walls in case a war started. The climate in ancient Egypt was very dry, except around the Mediterranean Sea. Ancient Egypt was separated into two halves: black land, where they grew all their crops, and red land, which was all desert. Also, the Nile River ran right through ancient Egypt. The Egyptians had to know Moses' mathematical equation to build pyramids. Also, they wrote in hierarchy, which means symbols represented letters. And the Egyptians recorded time with a sundial during the day and a shadow clock during the night. Trade was big in Egypt. Many people traded corn, livestock, and precious jewels. These are some trading routes the Egyptians traveled. This is a mud house, which would represent a lower class person's home, and this is a brick house, which would represent a wealthier person's home. Women had many rights and freedoms in ancient Egypt. Marriage was a regular thing, unlike other places. People loved to play board games in ancient Egypt. No matter male or female, you wore makeup. Many Egyptians kept wild animals as pets. These are my citations.